Welcome back to the Physical Therapy San Pedro podcast. This is episode 58, and today we're having a conversation with Coach Stacey Iliff about speed, agility, and injury-proofing our athletes. I'm Dr. Janae Brown, a physical therapist and host of the Physical Therapy San Pedro podcast, and I am joined by Coach Stacey Iliff. Welcome, Stacey.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're excited to have this discussion. Coach Stacey is our new strength and conditioning coach here at Physical Therapy San Pedro, and she is has a world of great knowledge and skills, and so she's going to give us a little bit of insight about herself. But we brought on Coach Stacey to support our return to sport training, work with our athletes and our clients here to get them stronger, moving better, and back to sport. So we've been excited to pair alongside with her and have her on our team with us. So I'm excited to kind of dive into the speed and agility conversation with her because it's her specialty. Coach Stacey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Again, thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
I'm from Long Beach. I went to San Diego State, played soccer there. I went to Boston and got my master's. When I was playing soccer, I broke both my tibias and had to rehab for a long time. So I know how important physical therapy is. In Boston, it was very cold for me, but I had two successful businesses, so I stayed there a lot longer than I was supposed to. I started with one client, and then probably a week later, I had 20 clients. It was word of mouth. I fell in love with training athletes. I lived in a very small town there, so I had 3 towns that I was training, probably 90% of their athletes for speed agility, underwater training. And I love it. And I'm so happy to be a part of this team. And
yes. So, awesome. You are NASM certified. You have, you are TRX trained, KT tape, own 2 gyms, D1 level soccer player. So you definitely, have the skills and experience to be talking about what you're talking. So I'm excited to talk some stuff with you. We're going to start by talking about speed. We know that every athlete cares about getting faster. And so why do you think training speed and agility is like so important for athletes?
With speed and agility, honestly, I've trained so many athletes, and you have to train the body in so many different ways. It's basically training your upper body and your lower body. And people realize or think that you only have to train your body to basically only work for speed with the lower body. And so when I'm doing speed and agility, I'm training upper body, lower body, and mind.
Yeah. And something you've talked to me about is like, it's important to train both speed and agility if you want to be like that peak level athlete, if you want to get to that next level. And so would you say that most of the athletes that you're working with on one-on-one in speed and agility over time have been athletes that are sort of outside the norm and they're trying to either get a scholarship, they're trying to go to the next level or be the best sort of on their team or things like that? Would you say that that's the typical person that's doing the additional speed and agility training?
Yes. Yeah. And I will say that, and like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. 90% of my athletes that have came to me, it doesn't matter if they are 6 years old or college level, they do not know the right biomechanics of running. Mm-hmm. So when I teach somebody, before even speed and agility, I have to teach them how to run correctly. Mm-hmm. So I start arms, lower body, move into speed and agility, and then we just go from there.
Yeah. And that's one of the things we were going to dive into is like a lot of kids will just think that you need to train speed only. But if they don't build that foundation and work on mechanics, right, then oftentimes they're missing something in the steps.
Oh, yeah,
right? Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And so what are some of the drills that you do with your athletes to work on the foundation of mechanics?
So my motto is you can't have fast speed if you don't have fast arms and a strong core.
Okay.
So some drills I normally, when they come to me and they don't know how to run, I start with a 1-2-3 arm switch. Okay. Then I go to a 1-3 accelerate with the leg. And then ladder drills, there are bands around the arms, which actually teaches somebody how to run. Um, Anything honestly that's basically making the arms and the feet work at the same time is just making that athlete progress onto the next level.
Yeah. And would you say that athletes often come to you with you being the first person that's worked on sort of the biomechanics of running?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're their first exposure often to that. Do they think you're crazy that you're trying to put them in their arms and bands, their legs and bands?
Especially the college girls or do not want arm bands around them. They're like, I look ridiculous. And yes, for sure.
Okay, so that's a great thing to kind of just to just share with you guys. You need to be focusing on mechanics first. That's going to make you faster. So the biomechanics of running matters essentially, right? What about training lower body? Like, did most of the athletes that come to you that are working on speed focus just on training their lower body typically?
Most athletes that come to me are focused on their quads. And the posterior chain, mostly the hamstrings, are often neglected. They only were told or trained to go forward, and that's what they focused on.
Okay. So what are you doing in your training with your athletes that's different in terms of not working like you're working the quads, but what else are you adding into that?
I mean, I'm working on all aspects of the body. A lot of coaches aren't doing, for instance, like backward running with like a TheraBand. So for me with like college kids, just for example, I'll look at their packet. It will have like basically a college packet is pretty much every college is the same except the tests are different, test times. I look at what sport they're playing, what muscles they need to accelerate on, and that's how I base their training program around them. It's not what the packet basically is like, oh, they need to do squats, they need to do this. Like there's certain things that they're not putting in there that they need to do, but it's per sport. So I look at every athlete completely different.
Got it. So a lot of athletes and teams and coaches are thinking you need to get your quads stronger or focus on your quads in terms of their training. Are there specific things that you're doing differently than quad? Like if you weren't doing quad strengthening, are you doing hamstring strength? Like are you okay more than you think they're doing? They're taught to do or they think they should be doing. Yeah.
And even if like they don't have access to a gym, I can give them so many exercises just with like even a TheraBall or a bench to do like exercises for their hamstrings.
Also, another common misconception is that to be faster, you only need to train speed. And so, what else are you training other than speed to get people faster?
So, what my whole thing is that you have to train the mind, first of all. The body, yes, you also have to know all the aspects of the body you need to know when to rest. You need to know when to train. You need to know when to eat, what to eat correctly. But for like aspects that I do is like with the hand-eye coordination, it's everything has to work at one time. You have to be strong, you have to be mentally strong, you have to like focus on everything that you're doing at the same time. And I train from the ground up, and it's all aspects of the body, not just the body, but like the mind and everything.
So it's mechanics, it's involving upper body, lower body. You got to make sure you keep posterior chain involved in speed to get your speed up. And then you also need to involve other than those things, you need to involve hand-eye coordination, reaction time. There's other things involved in the mind, keeping the mind focused on and training the mind to get people faster.
Yes.
So yeah. Okay, cool. Is there anything you want to add in terms of like speed training that you feel like you do differently than maybe another strength and conditioning coach that you've encountered, or that athletes come to you and say, well, I was doing this and you know why you choose to do something different?
I had a lot of college coaches on the East Coast asking my athletes for my phone number to see why my freshmen were coming into a D1 college and testing the top 3. And a lot of them are coming off injuries. And I come from a surf background. I'm from the West Coast. I was on the East Coast. There's not a lot of surfing there. So I started doing underwater training, which basically builds the diaphragm so the athlete can go for longer. So I'm having them do all the drills I would do on the field, but underwater with like kettlebells or harnesses and whatnot. Um, for me, that's what I did different. And all my athletes that went into college tested in the top 3 for all of their testing speed wise.
So if you can't do underwater training, like for example, when you're in Boston, where you're doing underwater, well, if you're in a place where you can't do underwater training, how do you still incorporate that type of training with your athletes without getting in the water? Is there anything you're doing?
Well, I had like a.
Can you do like diaphragm training, breathing
I
training?
can
Like,
do
is
that.
That, yeah.
I have like an underwater training mask that I use because it's just like I said, I did so much research on like the diaphragm and building it. So I used that, and then the breathing was just completely different.
Yeah.
And I mean it works.
It works.
And it was taking less pressure off the injuries,
Yeah. That's awesome. That's so cool. Okay, well, let's dive into agility. So we know speed and agility training are your thing. Agility, how to cut quicker, how to react faster. All athletes want to be able to do that. So let's discuss some of the things you do in terms of agility training. How would you say, and you talked about this already, it's the mind-body connection to build true agility, or just build speed and agility in general. What are some things you do that you focus on with agility training? Maybe we start with deceleration technique and lateral movement. What do you do in your training to improve decel and lateral movement?
In deceleration, it is very crucial that an athlete knows how to slow down their body. That comes into if certain muscles are overtrained and they know only to go forward and don't know how to back off because their posterior chain muscles are like, not as strong. Lateral movements I use so much of because I'm training so many athletes in so many different sports that they're just not going forward and backward. They have to know how to cut. They have to know go a certain way. If you have an athlete that only knows how to go forward and backwards and they start to go lateral and they, tear an MCL or, it's so crucial to train all planes.
Awesome. Yeah. So you're training all planes of movement. What about reactive drills, cones, partner cues, light and audio cues? There's a lot of things out there, and there's trendy things that people do to get people moving quicker. Do you do any of those things, or what are some of the things you do as it relates to reactivity, partner cues?
I'm very big on that.
Okay.
Baseball athletes, lacrosse, hockey, it doesn't matter. It's like I do a lot of hand-eye coordination. So that's basically where it's going from the whole body training. So I could have somebody going through an agility ladder that has to concentrate on their feet. They have to concentrate on their arms moving because the faster your arms go, the faster your feet go. And their mind has to know where to react on these balls. Or if it's like a light ball mechanism. But that is so crucial because anyone can go through an agility ladder. You have to work at getting your arms to move with your feet and your brain to be able to, it's the next level.
Yeah. And do you feel like that's neglected in a lot of training programs?
Definitely. 100%.
Yeah. What about shock absorption, absorbing force properly? Do you think that there's a higher injury risk when athletes can't absorb shock well?
Oh yeah. It's if they do not know how to land, that's my biggest thing is when I'm teaching people how to land, it's like soft landing, heel to toe. Like I should not hear anything. Even if it's a box jump, you should not hear that. It's like soft landing. And that's why you always start low, go high, always have a main higher. You don't have the shock absorbent, you're definitely it's not good.
Yeah. Do you think that the athletes that don't absorb shock well also struggle with being truly agile as well, like in their movements? Do you or do you see those going partner, like hand in hand? Are you okay, yeah. Okay.
It's like it's if you can't absorb shock, it's like you're stiff. Like but it's very easy to train that. It's just it's somebody that hasn't been trained properly.
Yeah. How do you pair an agility with strength and coordination? Like, what do you do to work agility work in to those things?
Well, I think they go hand in hand, to be honest. I would never, somebody could come to me and be like, oh, here's my son, he needs to train like high school lacrosse. And I'm not just gonna, I mean, yes, I'm gonna ask like, okay, well, does he know how to run correctly? I'll do that test. I need to know the strength. I do all my own testing as far as that goes. But that like it all goes hand in hand. If you don't have all those components, then you're not going to be the best athlete that you can be.
Yeah. I know a lot of trainers that focus one way, they either focus solely on strength or they focus solely on speed and agility, and they don't like do it all. And you might have an athlete come to you that really says, I want to get quicker. I want to get faster. I want to be able to move better. I'm not as fast as everybody else on the team. I feel like I can't change direction as quickly. How important is strength training in that? Like, if an athlete came to you and said, I just want to work on speed and agility, are you going to ignore strength, or is strength another
No.
component? Okay, yeah. So
No.
talk to me about that.
You can't be faster and stronger without having strength.
Yeah.
And you can't be like faster if you don't have speed. Like it's everything for me. I don't want to say I'm tunnel vision, like I'm a tunnel vision trainer.
Yeah.
But I know exactly all the aspects, and 90% of trainers, and I know that for a number because I've researched it, only look one way. So it's like if you most of the trainers that work at like box gyms, and I'm kind of getting off subject, but I did this when I was younger. I was always in the gym.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, might as well be a trainer.
Yeah.
But they only know how to train one way. But when you're educated and you train and you do everything that you've trained these athletes to do because you trained yourself doing them and you know it works, that's how I know that you need all the components. It doesn't matter if you are the best athlete out there, you still need to train with all the components.
Yeah. So let's talk about strength training and some of the things that you prioritize for your athletes as it relates to strength. Let's start with the importance of glutes, hamstrings, and the core. Talk to me about why those muscles are important and to get strong for getting athletes also faster and moving better.
So glutes, quads, and hamstrings are such a large muscle in our body, and most trainers and coaches think that that's basically the core of what's going to make us the strongest athlete. Most people don't know we have 650 skeletal muscles in our body, and all need to be trained. It doesn't matter how small the muscle. That's where it comes into place with not only is like doing squats and deadlifts and cleans and everything, but just lateral movements to like, abductors. Like it's just like there's so many different things that need to be trained. And then if you're just training like your glutes and your quads, then your hips are all like out of whack.
Yeah.
So it's just, for me, strength training is so important, but it needs to always be, everything needs to be trained, not just 3 muscle groups.
Yeah. So how do you build your strength program for your athletes that you're trying to get faster and more agile? What do you do? How do you build that every movement from the bottom up? How do you build that program for them? Do you look at what, like, ask them to do something, progress based on what they can do? How is your style of strength training?
I if I'm like, you're passing me an athlete, I don't know but you're testing.
Yeah.
I do a lot of testing. I see what sport they're playing. I can tell watching an athlete run, like just jog like 25 yards or whatnot. And then I kind of I'll know what they're working on. And then I just kind of build a program off of their sport. So if they're like a swimmer, it's going to be completely different from like a football player, but they're still going to get all of the mobility. Like the mobility is even as important as the muscle strength, I guess.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Or do you have some favorite things that you think every athlete should know how to do, no matter what the sport? Should every athlete know? A lot.
A lot.
Like, should every athlete know how to do a med ball throw? Should every athlete know how to do like a Bulgarian split squat? Should every athlete know how to do a front squat? Like, is there any foundational movements you're like every athlete should be able to do this, or no, is it more
It
really
depends on the
sports specific?
age. I
Okay.
think it depends on the age. I wouldn't think that an 8th grade girl soccer player would know how to do like a front squat
Mhm.
just because.
Do you think she needs to know how to do that to play D1 soccer?
Yes, but she like at that level, I would not be having her lift. Like I've seen coaches like rack the weights and they're not even doing it correctly.
Yeah.
Like I start with PVC pipe all the time, build up from there, training bar, then goes to a bar. But
Yeah.
yes, I think that everyone should know the actual basic moves because they're being also taught not the correct way, especially cleans.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that's important is building strength, like you said, without sacrificing mobility or movement quality. So your thing is you can get strong, but don't sacrifice all these don't just focus on these big things that everybody's doing. Focus on all the full body and be sport specific as you're training your athletes, essentially. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's strength. All right. Well, let's talk about injury prevention and recovery. What are some things that you feel are really important as it relates to, reducing injury, and keeping your athletes healthy and still training?
So I am very big on stretching, as you know.
Mhm.
Most teams, coaches, trainers, I mean, I've done it too where I'll go take a class and I don't have time to stretch, but stretching is so important. I'm very about dynamic warm up stretching, especially like hip mobility in the beginning. And then cool down stretching after the workout. I'm like adamant about that. And I've seen so much from my athletes reduction in injury doing it that way.
Yeah. So every athlete gets a warm up. Every athlete gets a cool down.
Mm-hmm.
Every athlete learns mobility, flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's getting stronger with strength work.
And they all know their programs. Like if I'm not there and they're there early, they know already how to like warm up.
Yeah. What do you think? We're gonna close here shortly. What do you think has made you so successful as a strength and conditioning coach? Is it that you have your master's degree, you have your bachelor's degree, you have all these certifications? Is it your experience? What do you really feel like has made you the most successful or contributed to your success with your athletes in being able to, stay injury free, train, get scholarships, go to D1 schools? What are the things that make you successful?
I will always say this, and it has to do with me starting as a personal trainer, like training adults. I know exactly what works for everyone. I know how to train everyone because I am a like hybrid trainer because I've done it all for myself to see what works. So everything I put my athletes through, I've done on myself. So I think yes, I don't like the bachelor's, master's, that looks good. But for me, I've learned everything doing it. I'm a hands-on person and I've seen a success in doing it and where all my athletes started and where they are. And that's what makes me a successful trainer.
Yeah, that's so great. And it's like practice what you preach.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, if you're going to train something, you need to have experience yourself and you need to be doing those things yourself and know that this is what is how you get to that level. So my recap takeaway from what you said is speed is a skill, agility needs to be trained, strength is your base. You got to stay healthy. You got to incorporate mobility, flexibility. You got to practice what you preach.
Yep.
And
all day long.
And what was the quote you said in the beginning that about mind and body? Because we need to rehear that one again. What is your philosophy about training the mind and the body?
The training the mind and body is one.
Yeah, training the mind and body as one. I love that. Okay, well, we're gonna wrap here. Thank you so much, Coach Stacey,
Thank you for having me.
for having this discussion with us. I'm really excited because as physical therapists, we are not strength and conditioning coaches. It is a piece of something we learn if we choose to in our advanced training. But having Coach Stacey on our team and being able to have her work with our athletes, I feel really like privileged here to have her on our team and be able to take them to the next level, get them back to sport, get our athletes who are coming in just to train one-on-one with her stronger, better. And so if you're somebody who is looking to potentially get stronger, move faster, be more agile, get that D1 scholarship,
Come
just
on
be,
in.
yeah,
Okay.
be set out amongst your peers. Come on in and get training with Coach Stacey. She's here for you, and we're excited to have her here. If this is your first time tuning in to the Physical Therapy San Pedro podcast, we have 57 other episodes that you can go tune into. All great topics, all great things that you guys can learn about. We're here to educate you and have great discussions about things we feel like that you guys can learn from and grow from. So check those out. You can check us out on Instagram at Physical Therapy San Pedro, on Facebook. You can check out our YouTube channel at Physical Therapy San Pedro, where our podcast is at Apple, Amazon, Spotify, anywhere where you love to listen. And if you're in the local area, we'd love to work with you and help you with an injury if you're struggling with one. We also do telehealth, so you can contact us from anywhere in the world and we can do one-on-one PT with you. So we look forward to bringing you your next episode, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.